For today's cup of coffee, I went down a rabbit hole.
You did.
Again. Because I travel rabbit holes.
You go down a lot.
Yes.
Should we call you Alice at this point?
Possibly.
My name isn't Alice, but I'll keep looking for Wonderland. Sorry.
There was an
Anyone
article.
else know that song?
That probably somebody does. There was an article that came out in the Daily Mail on November the 9th of 2023 by Matthew Phelan about Air Force officer breaks silence on red glowing UFO the size of a football field hovering at low altitude over U.S. Space Launch Base in California in event witnessed by over half a dozen military personnel.
No covering that shit up.
And so the article is kind of lengthy, and it was one of those that this was the first time this gentleman had spoken about this. But when I got to going down the rabbit hole, found out the article, and I will put a link to the article, had been taken from a YouTube channel called Merged Podcast. And that sent me down a whole new rabbit hole. And Merged is a platform, and this is what their about thing says, to enable the mainstream exploration of UAP through the lens of pilots, scientists, and innovators. Ryan Graves will host discussions on UAP that prioritize scientific inquiry and maintain an open-minded approach. In addition to exchanging ideas, Merged will serve as a conduit for identifying technologies, companies, and individuals that can contribute to the ecosystem of UAP research and understanding. Now, Ryan Graves was one of the ones that testified before Congress this past summer on the UAP thing that David Grush, he was the primary one.
Yeah.
And I have enjoyed the hell out of that all weekend long.
You have.
Now, this is a relatively new channel, and it is, if you're looking for UFO and UAP accounts and discussion that is not, I mean, this stuff, these people are definitely taking this seriously.
Yeah.
And Graves does an excellent job as the host of this.
That's good.
Uh-huh.
For real. They need someone that actually does their job and does it well.
Yeah. And so the gentleman that the article was about, his name was Jeff Nuccetelli. I'm trying to pronounce it the best I can.
Nuccetelli.
Yeah.
Nutella.
And because it's one of those that how it is spelled is not how it looks.
Telly.
And it says that he is a former Air Force security officer who responded to an incident in 2004 of a large red square being reported at Vandenberg Air Force Base. And Jeff details the account, the records he preserved of the incident, and how his interactions with AARO, or they're just calling it Arrow, and so I will refer to it as that also, did or did not reveal any truth.
So they just didn't make a comment whatsoever, or they just didn't?
As far as there have been quite a few people, I have heard over the past week or so, variant accounts of people's, how Arrow dealt with them. And I guess it's like anything else. It depends on who is interviewing, who you're speaking with.
Right. Yeah, that is definitely a factor.
Some people are more qualified than others.
Yes, that's true.
But Mr. Nuccetelli had been basically an MP, which is military police or something like that. And he himself did not witness the craft. But what he described was that he said it was like a square that had just sort of been squashed.
Okay.
It was like a box that had been squashed that people were reporting to him, and it was red, and it was huge. And you had these people...
Giant rectangle flying at us.
Yeah. And so he said that these people that had witnessed this were definitely afraid of whatever it was because it was out of their scope of understanding.
But also That's a new type of ship.
Right.
I've never heard of a ship like that before.
Right.
So if it's that fear, then something's off.
Yeah.
That's not actually them.
Right. No, I mean, and
That's not
that is a
actually the
human.
aliens.
That's a human response.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, what is this? Is this friend? Is this foe? That's just part of our makeup. You know, that's how our species has survived, you know, to date. But this gentleman had kept his own box of notes of different witnesses and the sightings and stuff. He turned in the appropriate documentation that was required of him. And he had, none of this stuff was classified. It was all publicly available, but he kept his own copies. And even when he, retired out of the service, he took those with him because he could.
Yeah.
And he kept them for years. And he told the account that he had a business, I don't remember where he said it was, in that some kids were interested in UFOs, and I got to talking about it, and he had said, well, I have documentation. I have, intimate knowledge about this. And so he had brought in the box of documentation for the kids to look through and review and read the eyewitness accounts and different things like that. And he had just kept it in his shop. And that sometime later, there was I don't remember, it was some kind of water damage or something like that, which led to sewer damage. And so the box was thrown away. Had to be.
Nothing was salvageable. Was it? Damn, that sucks.
Yeah, really. And but at some point he was going through other documents and stuff that he had, and he had one or two other documents that were not in the box. And that was enough.
Good.
And so, I can't remember if it was he that was explaining it. No, it may have been Fravor rather. But anyhow, excellent interview. And the other one that I thoroughly enjoyed was Commander David Fravor. He was the other one that was there as far as a witness at the congressional hearing. And as far as he was a former fighter pilot, he was the one with the Tic Tac UFO. Mm-hmm. He is a hoot. And he is one hell of a human being. He truly is.
What was the name of the video again?
Oh, it's Commander David Fravor.
But
as far as, I will definitely put the links to the YouTube channel.
Okay.
But to sit and listen to him, now these
5 a.m. The
interviews
videos are uploaded at 5 a.m.
Huh?
Videos are uploaded at 5 a.m.
Ours are 5:30 a.m.
5:30
Eastern
a.m.
Standard Time.
Close enough. Close enough.
But anyhow, they don't have a vast listing at this point. Like I said, it's a relatively new channel. But now the interviews are about an hour and a half-ish.
Uh-huh.
And they're intense. But listen to Fravor, and something that was interesting during the discussion was that Fravor talked about Bob Lazar. He knows Bob Lazar.
How bizarre.
And he basically has validated what Lazar has been saying for decades.
Well, people know that he's telling the truth.
Mm-hmm. So,
I guess for the skeptics, someone needed to back him up.
The skeptics, something can come and bite them on the ass and they're still going to deny it because a lot of these people do not want to admit that they could possibly be wrong.
Those people are going to fall flat on their face when they just show up.
Yeah. But I thought that was great. And it's not like Lazar had asked him to do any of this or anything. But this man, like I said, the fact that he knows Lazar, and he's like, what he has said is true. And that some of the things that Lazar was talking about had spoken about the ship that he had worked on and tried to reverse engineer was the fact there were no rivets or seams or anything like that. And they couldn't figure out how this could have been produced. And that Lazar had recently stated that the inside of the craft that he observed, it was almost like it had been 3D printed. So some of these things, we just don't even have the basis to understand or even verbalize
Yeah, they got the
the
tech.
technology.
They got the tech just to materialize shit.
Yeah.
So
And,
who
well,
knows what tech these creatures have?
Right. And Lazar said that as far as trying to figure out how, I don't even know if he was talking about the propulsion system or what at this time, he said we're at least 100 years away from understanding it.
I mean, in retrospect, that ain't that long. But for
Well,
some of us who's got to live, you
it's
know,
a matter,
we ain't gonna live to see that.
it's a matter that humans have gotten to the point that where the technology has advanced, but the morality has declined. That's our problem right now. That's a severe, severe problem. Just because you can does not mean you should.
Right.
And one that I had started today but didn't quite finish was, and I meant to look up how to pronounce that damn thing and I forgot, and that was Avi Loeb. And he's a Harvard professor, and that he was one of the ones that was working on that Mau Mau asteroid.
That's
about as close as I can get to it. And that there is question that this may not be like space rock, but maybe space debris.
Like if something was blasted up there?
Like something left it there.
Okay.
That it was
I don't want this rock
not
no
a
more.
naturally occurring object.
I don't want this anymore. Here you go.
Well,
Space.
they were talking about that Elon Musk had launched a Tesla into space. Well, you know,
So
hell,
there's
why
just a
not?
Tesla
Because he
car up
could.
there.
I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, seriously. And
Random Tesla car just floating.
but you know that could have been what it was, and he was discussing as far as the technology that we have right now, being able to detect life in other parts of the galaxy or the universe or whatever. And sitting and listening to that man, and you realize how highly improbable it would be that there's not some other form of life somewhere.
Right. Like, it's very just one-sided just to think, oh, we're the only ones here. And almost selfish-like?
Yes, it's arrogant.
Yeah,
Very
arrogant. That's the word. It's almost arrogant.
And one that I watched last night, and it was one of those that were, of course, this is true of anybody that you sit and listen to long enough. There are bits that you agree with, and there are bits that you're like, question that. And that was Gary Nolan, and I had heard of him before. And he is, according to Wikipedia, an American immunologist, academic, inventor, and business executive. He holds the Rockford and Carlotta A. Harris Professor Endowed Chair in the Department of Pathology at Stanford. That's all you have to know. School of Medicine.
Yeah.
He is not a stupid man. And he founded a biotechnology. He has founded technology companies, plural, wrote numerous medical research papers, and has been active in ufology. Yeah.
Okay.
And while he is obviously a hugely brilliant human being, and he asked some really good questions, the thing that concerned me when he was talking about finding other life forms and different things like that, and he's like, oh, well, we could launch bacteria to have them try to discover different things. And I'm like, wait, what? No. And so
why would you want to look for that?
Kid and I were discussing what is, nothing to us, to other species, may be a huge something.
Yeah, that's why they wear the suits. Some of them wear the suits, more than likely.
You don't take bacteria to other places. You don't know enough about it. Leave it alone.
Y'all not remember what happened with the Indians?
Yeah. Yeah. There's been a whole lot of indigenous peoples that when other people came to their shores, that the people that came to the shores were, had developed immunities towards different diseases, and some of these other populations did not, and they were wiped out, intentionally and unintentionally.
Yeah.
So, no, you don't be taking bacteria from one planet to another. So that concerned me. That seemed rather arrogant.
Yeah.
That's like the people that, it's like, oh, we'll plant kudzu to help with erosion. No, it's not indigenous to the area. Don't do that.
And it's a blight over where it is.
Oh, yeah,
anyway.
it's taken over.
Over
So-
here, it's just worse.
As far as that bacteria idea, I thought that's not a good idea at all.
No, you don't fuck with that shit.
That's the reason they don't let you take fruits and vegetables from other countries, because you don't know. There could be insects. There could be all kinds of things. You don't be screwing with that stuff.
You put
So
that coconut down.
It kind of concerned me that somebody that is that damn brilliant could also, think of doing something that damn dumb.
Arrogant people do dumb shit.
Yeah. And so by the time I listened to all these things and stuff like that, I'm like, my brain was kind of reeling. And so I thought, no, that's the reason I didn't finish the video with Loeb on some of that stuff. And I thought, you know what? We don't know shit about shit.
No.
So I paused and I went back and watched Men in Black, 1997. And I told Kid, I said, my God, that very well could have just been blatant disclosure.
I was like, well, yeah. They do that all the time. They don't want to put it out in the media, so they put it out in the movies and TV shows as fiction, when in actuality, that shit happens too.
Right. Well, there's a lot of people, from what I have what I am understanding, and I think that this is something that Mr. Nuccetelli was talking about. Instead of dealing with Arrow, that you've got a lot of people that are going and talking to the members of Congress that are on that committee. And as much as Congress is at each other's throats about a lot of things, they are not about this, which is good.
Yeah, because nobody can deny it. Nobody can deny it at this point. We're all like, okay, when are y'all arriving? We know y'all are real. When are you showing up?
And that because, that's the wonderful thing about this merged podcast. This gives a platform to bypass all the shit.
Yeah.
And just give it straight to the public. This is what I saw. This is what I witnessed. This was the part that, this was, the reaction of the people. That's how this stuff needs to be done. Bypass the damn gatekeepers.
Yep.
And
Yep,
so
yep.
I applaud Ryan Graves hugely. And I meant to go through there. They have got some kind of, it's not like AARO. It is some kind of committee or something that he and some of the other ones, I know that Fravor was involved in it, that is also searching for truth. It's an independent thing. So that people can come, because they can come to them again without the gatekeepers.
Okay. That makes sense.
Because these people, to have somebody that is trusted. Because even these Congress people, they're still tied with the they. You know?
Yep.
And it's like a lot of these elected officials, they have no clue what's going on. Even the military people that need to know basis and where everything is compartmentalized. And so you've got a few that God knows who these few are, what the hell their agenda is. Apparently it's not good. And that people are not letting go of this at this point. They don't have to.
No.
They're skirting, they're finding ways around it, and that's how you can get to truth. So, most interesting, like I said, some excellent discussions. I look forward to exploring some of the other things that are on there. I'm glad that it wasn't like ours where thousands. They just got like, they got a handful at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe 10, less than 20, I think. This still takes, because some of this, what I will do, I will sit and I will listen to it, and then I will pause it and ponder and truly hear what these people are saying. Or go back and it's like, did he say what I think he said? And it's incredible to sit and watch these people and facial expressions as they're talking about these things, watching them as far as where their eyes are, reliving that moment. Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell that the trauma. It's trauma.
Well, I don't know that it's necessarily. For some of them, it is trauma. For some of them, it is just a matter of life-changing moment.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that's something that not everybody has. Not everybody has that experience that
Right.
they did.
Right. And that they're giving a voice to, I mean, these people are credible. Not that the average person out on the street is not credible with what they've seen. But because of some of these people's reputations and different things like that are more credible.
Right.
To start there, Yeah.
Yeah.
And to give these people a voice. And that's what they have needed for many, many years. And to call the bullshit out. And now Graves is an excellent host. He honestly is. He listens well. He asks intelligent questions. And he lets the people tell their stories.
Yeah. Is the Weekly World News still a thing?
Yes, it is. It's only online, and they only have stories not that often. I miss the print copy of the Weekly World News.
Yeah.
I
That
really
was the
do.
best time.
I could have written for the Weekly World News easily.
Could have. Now, is that all just shit that they pulled
We
out
don't
of their
know.
ass? Or
We don't know. That was the funny
like
thing.
everything.
That was the funny thing about they're in Men in Black. I can't remember what they called it now. It wasn't the data sheets, but it was something similar to it. And they had gone and bought a bunch of these tabloids up. And Will Smith's character, he's like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Yeah, some of the best investigative journalism out there." So that's what, even as far as the Daily Mail and the Mirror and some of these other ones that are considered shit sites,
If someone is
they're sort of like the online, Weekly World News.
Yeah, if someone is an investigative and journalist that is into that stuff, imagine the danger that they put themselves in.
Well, it's just a matter of asking questions. And I heard somebody say the other day, anybody at this point, anybody with a cell phone and access to the internet is an investigative journalist. Because they can do whatever. They can, right then, they can video it. They can upload it immediately before anybody from government comes in to try to shut them down. So what do they, then that's where they do the spin doctors, the propaganda. They try to discredit people, all the psyops shit. But people have been shown how the psyops work at this point. So, yeah. Interesting
waking up to
times.
everything.
Interesting times we're living in.
Yeah. Didn't the world just get an upgrade recently?
I
And
don't
it's just
know.
trying to get into effect.
That's what somebody had said. That's what they were talking about, the 11/11.
11/11. I was like, Mom, it's 11/11.
And I'm like, I know. I had been warned. And it's like, even as far as the different astrologers and stuff, that is one individual's interpretation of what's going on. So if you listen to 2 or 3 that you trust, you can get a basis of what's going on more than if you just listen to one, because they're people and they have their own biases and, shortcomings just like everybody else.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Final thoughts?
Aliens. They coming.
It certainly is not dying down at all. It's ramping up.
Yeah. Are we going to get alien merch back in stores now?
Maybe.
Full on, like how we used to?
Maybe.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That would be great. So, and that's
Bring
the final.
on the aliens.
It depends on the aliens.
I would rather see the Greys.
If they're good guys, yes, let us learn from you.
The Greys are just.
If it's some of the ones that want to destroy us, no, go back to wherever you came from. Leave us alone.
The Greys are someone said that they were almost like puppets.
That's what I have heard, is that it's
so they kind of dumb.
That it's almost like a biological android or something.
Yeah.
Is what I have heard. So,
okay.
and the fact that humans are working on similar technologies now, that's interesting. For real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This shit's happening.
It's crazy. And it's happening very, very quickly.
This is really happening.
Yeah. Huh? This is the world we're living in. And that's your final thoughts?
It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world. Yeah,
well,
that's it.
And that was something, even as far as the end of the world, people don't understand that we lived through this shit with the Mayan calendar. Okay, it's the end of one cycle and the beginning of another one.
Yes, and we certainly have been in a new world since then.
Yeah. I was trying to think. I had read something the other day that somebody had said about the world had actually stopped in the 70s. I'll have to go back and find that quote again.
Stopped in the 70s?
Yeah, and everything was just sort of a rehash. My God, I hope that's not true, because it was that avocado green, harvest gold, burnt orange, all those horrible colors.
See, the 60s and the 70s was part of Y2K.
Yeah. It was what?
It was part of early 2000s, from 1999 or 1998 to 2004. It was really prominent. Actually, I think it was 2003 is when it stopped. So.
What stopped? The world?
No, the style.
Oh,
because it was very 60s. It was that groovy.
Are you kidding that they've got some of that shit in the store now?
Yes, because Y2K came back, so it's they're really bringing in the elements of everything now, because it's also 70s.
Oh, God.
70s did come back for a short time there.
Well, what it proves that there is a lack of innovation right now.
That's because the ones that are in charge have sticks up their asses, and they're not allowing new designs.
Well, they're
not allowing room for original, creative, new designs.
Some of the original new designs that I have seen are not original nor new. Tacky is not original nor new.
I've seen some shit that wasn't tacky, but was original.
Well, we'll have to check that out some other time.
It certainly did have elements of old, but it was rehashed in a way that made it modern.
Everything has been rehashed lately. Everything has been rehashed, and I don't know if that's by design or if it's just a matter that I don't know. But can you imagine? And I meant to go back and find that quote from Men in Black, but it was something. So I'm going to paraphrase horribly. That individuals are intelligent, but humans as a whole are basically, as far as mob mentality and ignorant and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
We can see this happening today.
Yeah.
When you see mobs of people going out and doing bad things, that's scary. That is scary. Be an individual. Always think for yourself. So that was your final thoughts?
Yep.
If you've had experiences with paranormal or supernatural encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids, send us an email, cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com, and the email address will be there in the description box, plus all the references, the link to the newspaper article, or not newspaper, God, I'm old. I am so old. To the
News
Daily
article.
Mail. And as far as the Merged podcast, check that out. Give them some love. Give them a subscription. It's worth your time.
Yep. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe and click that notification button for daily notifications of our daily uploads. Thank you all. Have a good.
Know that you're loved.
Yes.
And Lord willing, we'll see you on the next podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Cup of coffee.
Yep.
Ponderings of the weird.
Uh-huh.
Bye.
Bye.